Welcome to episode 812 of Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media and ways to contact me and ways to listen to the show at the website, also to support the show, at the website, which is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. You can support the show by signing up for the Patreon feed, which gets you more shows, access to more recordings of shows, I should say. All shows that I record are on Discord, and the live recording stream is always available to everyone to listen to live on Discord. But then to access the recordings, you have to, for some shows, you have to sign up for the Patreon, which is only $1 a month if you want to sign up for that. So. Or you can also check out the merchandise store and get various shirts, t-shirts, and sweatshirts, and a sling bag, and even an apron with some amazing designs on them. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. Also, please support the friends of the show, Jen, the Arcane Observer, and her own channel. She is also the co-host of this show. And also Michael Strange and Trouble Minds Radio, the show, and then also the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear Trouble Minds Radio as well as my show and many other amazing shows 24/7 online radio. So I think that takes care of everything. Again, special thanks to my friends, they know who they are out there, who contributed a laptop to this podcast, and I'm really enjoying it so far. As far as having a second screen, excuse me, and it's a huge improvement because I have to have everything magnified, enlarged on my screen so much that switching between programs manually is fine, but also once I do that, I have to find my spot on the screen for any given program. So this is saving me several seconds to do that, to do the whole process of going back and forth between, excuse me, between screens. So really appreciate that. So anyway, I do have something I want to share. This is from the chat in the recording channel here. That is amazing, and I'm always curious about it. These kinds of experiences. So this is from Jeff in Wisco, another member of the Discord server. Very grateful for everyone that has joined, and this is actually two contributions to the show, as far as experiences go. So Jeff says, I just watched a bird completely vanish in midair the other day, just down into another dimension or something, or behind something that was clear, that was cloaked. But that was it. Wow. Yeah, no, but that's still an amazing experience. And it's yeah. He also says it was flying and then just vanished. No turns. Wide open skies. Yeah, then just gone. And that's amazing because you hear that. I've heard that before I mean, you hear about that with obviously with ghosts. You hear that sometimes with UFOs. You hear that with all different kinds of things. Really, this either, again, we don't really know for sure. But as far as visually, things just disappear, or appear and disappear, in some cases. So we don't know if they're going somewhere else, if they're going through some kind of invisible portal, or again, if they're going behind something that is completely cloaked to where it looks like just the sky, like you can see through whatever it is that you're looking at when you don't even know you're looking at something. But then if it was cloaked, I don't know, because I guess it depends on the kind of cloak. If it was just cloaked to look like the sky around it, then you wouldn't see the bird behind it. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that either, but that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that as well, Jeff. So anyway, let's get to these true stories here that I've managed to find online, these experiences, and we'll go from there. So also thank you to everyone that's here listening in the live show, also in the feed, for listening as I'm adjusting to having a new device. It's amazing, but it always takes a little bit of time to do. So this one says, I own a business and moved into my current building just over a year ago. My business partner nicknamed a suspected ghost in the building C. I recently told my partner I would stop using the nickname, believing the ghost didn't like it. Initially, strange things were minor, such as objects falling unexpectedly or going missing when no one was present. These incidents were first seen as almost silly, as was the idea that of a ghost. I often work alone late at night and feel the ghostly activity has become more targeted toward me. The ghost behavior is mischievous, but not harmful. It seems like that of a teenage boy playing pranks or jump scares. Since then, other things have happened. A coffee machine's grounds basket suddenly slid out on its own. While working in the kitchen with the back door locked, the door's push bar made a loud noise as if someone slammed into it. During closing, I heard someone scream, "Help," but no one else heard it and no one was there. Uh, okay. On the one hand, this all feels crazy, but also, it feels like the ghost is just pranking me. That's where that one ends. I always feel bad for anyone that has to go through that because, again, they mention it's not harmful, but also if you set someone on edge enough, that's harmful in another way. I don't think people and anyone really always realizes the way that can continuing that kind of activity can have lasting effects on people, make them nervous, make them jumpy, make whatever, put them on edge, make them uneasy. That's not, that is, in a way, that is harmful, just not in the physical sense. But you hear about that so often. I do wonder, is it someone that is just playing pranks because they have no physical form? They don't need to eat or sleep or do anything, and they're just there. And so whenever this person thinks that they've been targeted by, but whenever this person is there, they just decided to mess around. Or are they doing things? And I always wonder with this too, when it comes to things happening. Is there another reason for them? Is there someone there just trying to communicate and it's coming across in the wrong way? Because they're only able to do certain things. Sometimes they even don't even know if what they're going to do is going to work. I always wonder about the abilities as well as the motives of whoever or whatever else might be out there, because just of the idea that all these things that happen, it takes energy to have effects. I mean, it probably takes other things too that we're not aware of or don't have explanations for just yet. But it takes energy, supposedly, to make things happen in a physical space with objects and things. And so I always wonder about that. Hopefully it's not meant to be a prank, but also hopefully it calms down for this person. Or it has calmed down, I don't know. But yeah. I wanted to share that because I think it's an important point regarding activity and either again, I'm not one to give anyone advice of what they should do when there's activity, but I can sort of give you options of what I've heard before. Sometimes people will speak out loud to whoever's there and tell them, sort of talk to them, try to communicate with them, uh, explain that they just need to figure out how to get along, or to tell them to stop if it's something that is harmful in any way, not just a physical way, but any other way. I've heard of accounts of that, but I've heard of varying results, so that's why I don't claim to know what anyone should do in these situations, except maybe go with what you feel like would work, or what feels right to you, and that's the best anyone can do, I think. So, moving on to the next one here. This one says, I woke up in the middle of the night and reached for my phone and noticed the figure of a large, shaggy black dog near my bedside table. The dog made eye contact with me. The encounter lasted a few seconds. The dog did not seem unfriendly or aggressive. I blinked a few times to adjust my eyes, but the dog remained visible and continued to look back at me. Suddenly, the black dog disappeared. During this experience, I checked on my baby, who was awake but not crying, in the bassinet next to my bed. I found the experience odd, but did not feel any malevolence or negativity. I even went back to sleep easily afterward. I always thought that I was fairly intuitive, but I still don't know what to make of this experience. That's where that one ends. That is amazing. I've heard of this before. People seeing black, basically black dogs that appear and vanish. Excuse me. And sometimes they see them out in nature. Other times they see them in their homes. Sometimes they seem to be angry or negative. Other times they do not. So, and there's a lot of mythology in different parts of the world about people seeing black dogs, as well, in folklore, and reports going back who knows how far. So that's what, as I always say, that's what always amazes me about finding these current reports of experiences, or even relatively current reports. Even if they're talking about 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, when you compare that to similar reports from 100 years ago or a few hundred years ago, take your pick of whatever century you want to go back to, it's amazing to find these similar accounts of experiences. So let's see here. Let's get to this one here. It says, this happened when I was between 10 and 15 years old, in the late 1990s or early 2000s, in Ontario, Canada, during the evening when it was already dark, sometime between spring and fall. My family and I were leaving my grandmother's house, walking down the street to our parked car. I noticed an object about 40 feet in the air, directly in front of us. The object appeared as a dark metal orb with 2 strings of red lights running across it, forming an X pattern. I stared at the object for a few seconds until reaching the car. No one else in the family seemed to notice or comment on the object. The experience felt surreal, as if I was dreaming while awake. I was not under the influence of any substance and was not sleep deprived. I still don't know what I saw. And so there you have a UFO in a way. I've never heard. I've heard of objects having lights on them, and the lights being in triangle forms or just lines. I don't think I've ever heard of one with lights in the pattern of an X on it. That's something different from what I've ever heard of before, I believe. Unless I'm forgetting things. But yeah, so I don't know what that was. I would be curious if the family saw anything. I can imagine them not saying much, not wanting to freak out the kids. Maybe even hoping that the kids didn't see anything. I always wonder with these experiences when people have them, where they think they had them alone. I always wonder, were they the only ones? Was there anyone else with them that was with them at the time that saw something as well? It's impossible to know, but I always wonder about those situations. So let's see if we can get two more in here in this episode. This one says, at age 8, I saw a faceless figure with red eyes outside my bedroom window at night. The figure wore a brown cloak and carried a staff. I only saw this figure once during the 10 years I lived in the house. 10 years ago, I revisited my childhood home and met the new family living there. The current resident's son, now in his 20s, has my old bedroom. I asked if he ever experienced anything strange in the house. He admitted feeling uncomfortable being alone in certain rooms and reported seeing creepy things. I don't know why I thought in the front yard. I still feel haunted by the memory of the figure and wonder why it was there. And that's when that one ends. I'm glad that they were able to sort of get confirmation that they weren't the only one to have any weird kind of experience there. I wonder if it was, I don't know, I wonder if the son of the current family didn't want to say much more, didn't want to think about the experience. That's definitely a reaction some people have to these things. But I'm glad that there was at least some confirmation for the writer of that post there that they weren't the only person to have a weird experiences there. So, this is also not the first time I've come across accounts of cloaked figures appearing and or just vanishing or whatever, being around places, and sometimes even with glowing eyes. So, but anyway, let's see here. Let's get to at least one more story here. We Jen, the Arcane Observer, and I did a whole show on the Grim Reaper phenomenon, and that was a lot of fun. I don't know how long ago now, maybe a year, something like that, maybe less. But I can't remember if we did a show on just hooded figures or not. I don't think we did, but I think it's come up before in many shows. So this one says, I grew up in the UK and went on school trips to historical sites a few times a year. At around age 8, my class visited a manor house built in the 1500s. During a guided tour, the group entered the kitchen, where the guide began explaining the room's history. Suddenly, I saw a gaunt little boy on crutches enter the kitchen, moving as if in a trance. The boy wore a gray shirt shorts with braces, high brown socks, and a brown cap. Clothing reminiscent of the Victorian or Edwardian era. I called out to classmates about seeing the boy, but most dismissed it as a lie or attention seeking. Only one other person claimed to see him. The boy seemed unaware of the group until he noticed he was being watched. He gave us an icy, mildly interested stare, then returned his trance-like routine, ignoring the group. I watched the boy through the window until being ushered out by the tour guide. For years, I wondered if the boy was a ghost or part of the tour. Now, as an adult, I wonder why only one other person saw him and why a child would be present during school hours. The experience remains unexplained and has left a lasting impression on me. It sounds like that's where that one ends. It sounds like two of the people there may have seen somehow a glimpse into another time. I don't know, but that seems possible, especially given the age of the location and the fact that the boy was using crutches. I would think that would indicate that he's not a spirit, but then again, I don't know obviously how spirits work and why they have or don't have certain objects or certain what appears to be certain physical issues or problems. This makes me think of that training center I went to for people with low vision or no vision, and part of one of the experiences I had where I would hear someone walking down a hallway outside of the room I was in, and I'd look up and I wouldn't see the lights turn on in the hallway, even though they were supposed to be motion-activated lights. And I would hear footsteps, but I would also hear the sound of a cane, a white cane, tapping the floor. For anyone that is maybe not as familiar, those are these canes that are used to help people find obstacles or objects in the way as they're walking around if they can't see, or steps or whatever there might be. And so they're very useful for that reason. And yeah, I don't know why I heard that, if that was a residual sound, if that was an intelligent spirit or person there playing back that sound intentionally for me to hear it. I don't know, but that's what I heard. But that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.